What's next for Brian Ortega? Well, after making Yair Rodriguez tap in round 3, what is next round? Well, Brian Ortega should get a rematch against Max Holloway, and I got Max Holloway winning this fight again, and I'll tell you why. Because his latest performances have been way more impressive than Brian Ortega's, and not only that, but Max Holloway has also been way more active than Brian Ortega, and again, Max Holloway has way more skill than Brian Ortega, so for those reasons, I got Max Holloway beating Brian Ortega. Now, the next fight for Brian Ortega is a rematch with Alexander Volkanovski, in which Alexander Volkanovski won the first fight, and I got him winning again, and I'll tell you why, because Alexander Volkanovski has destroyed way more high-ranked opponents than Brian Ortega, which means that he has way more skill and experience than Brian Ortega, and not only that, but I don't think that Brian Ortega has improved enough to beat Alexander Volkanovski in the rematch.
Now, here's how I see it. Now that Brian Ortega, who was ranked number 4, beat Yair Rodriguez, who was ranked number 3, he's going to take his spot, which is going to put him right behind Max Holloway, who's ranked number 2. So that's why this fight makes a lot of sense for it to be next, right after Max Holloway gets to Justin Gaethje. Now, here's the thing. If Brian Ortega beats Max Holloway by avoiding the striking game and using his amazing grappling skills and submission skills that he's shown against Yair Rodriguez and that he also shown against Alexander Volkanovski, in my opinion, I think that gives him the say to say, you know what, I'm going to skip Alexander Volkanovski and give me Ilia Topuria right away. Which, yes, most will say that if he beats Max Holloway, he still doesn't deserve to get Ilia Topuria right away until he beats Alexander Volkanovski, since Alexander Volkanovski did beat Brian Ortega and Max Holloway 3 times. But here's the thing, even if he gets Alexander Volkanovski, it doesn't matter because Alexander Volkanovski has been declining in his performances, and Brian Ortega was actually so close to submitting Alexander Volkanovski multiple times in their fights. So this is why I believe that he will give Ilia Topuria some serious problems when it comes to grappling, but again, he will have to avoid the striking game if he doesn't want to get knocked out. So in the end, Brian Ortega's next fights are most likely going to be against Alexander Volkanovski or against Max Holloway, in which I hope that he wins those fights because I want to see if his amazing grappling skills could give Ilia Topuria some problems, but at the same time, if anybody's going to have a chance with Ilia Topuria when it comes to striking, it's going to be Max Holloway.